everybody. It's another Tuesday. We got a great show for you. We're talking cooking, camping, fishing, all the goodness that everybody likes. How's everybody doing?
Good.
You guys have a good weekend? Get out and do something fun?
Absolutely not. Not me. It's homebody playing in the trailer as usual.
Mike, what'd you get up to?
A little busy myself. Had the granddaughter over for the weekend, which was fantastic. Had a great time with her, and she wore me and Grandma right out, man. So yeah, it was great. Lots of family time with the kids, so it was just fine.
Awesome, Broden.
I got the chance to go up north a little bit and chase some walleye and pluck. Didn't catch as much as Lee and Jamie, but managed to get quite a few nice walleye out of it. Unfortunately, everything was too big for the thought size.
Oh yeah. What were you using? So no one else uses that hook, I guess.
I was using what are they? They're the newer Berkeley paddle tails with the white paddle tail, but with a swim bait hook. So it's got a really big, I think it's like a 7-knot hook that I'm running, but it basically makes it fully weedless and a big underspin on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Those underspins are great.
So everyone's kind of got something on the go and on the grill. Aaron, what do you got going on tonight?
So we're starting off with a little bit of potatoes chopped up by my beautiful wife. And we're going to add some mushrooms and some pepper. We're going to add some spices to that. We got some steaks already pre-done. I still got to spice them up and throw them on the barbecue. But yeah, I mean, I got some smoked whitefish to go with the meal after I'm all finished.
Yeah, and do you pre-prep when you head out camping? Will you put them all in Ziplocs or something so you don't got to cut it up out there? Or
other than potatoes, yep. Potatoes I could just spend the day cutting with the old Camp Chef knife or whatever, right? I like to spend a little bit of time cooking in the outdoors, some stuff. But yeah, marinated steaks, everything gets marinated before. I love to pre-cook, especially like a big casserole dish.
Yeah.
And then make lazy cabbage rolls, throw it in a big tinfoil pan, and then throw it right onto here for supper for the first night. Makes things go by pretty fast and easy. You got a lot of setup to do, and you just kind of want to tie into your first drink for the weekend or kind of just sit back and relax. So I'll leave the meal prep for probably Saturday and just get the real cookout, right? Do the fish, the walleye, and the pike. That depends on what you get off the boat.
Nice. Mike, what do you got going on today?
Well, I ended up getting the dehydrator going today. I marinated a bunch of moose that I cut into jerky pieces. And then I cut up a bunch of apples as well. So I threw both moose and apples into the dehydrator about 10 o'clock this morning. Went out and did some work for 5-6 hours, came back. So it took about 7 hours at about 150 in a dehydrator. So if any of you have a dehydrator, I highly recommend that. So this is how it turned out. Looks real good. And yeah, it took about 7 hours, but we got some moose, we got apples, and I guess, we'll talk about it later, but when you think about, backcountry camping, fishing, even just going out for a day and packing something light and nutritious, it's pretty hard to beat, a dried fruit and a jerky, right? So I did that, and then to my right here, I've got some trout on the smoker. So I got a full trout, I've got a couple of fillets, open fillets, skin on. And then on the top, I did a bit of candied trout. They're all rainbow trout, so they're on there right now. Probably won't be done for a little bit, but yeah, that's what I got going today.
Nice. What are you doing over there, Broden?
I'm doing a little pesto pasta kind of thing, just a little rendition. Probably just an Australian twist more so than anything. But got the veggies going at the moment. And then I'll throw in the bacon and the pasta a little bit later.
Is your Australian twist Vegemite?
No. I do have Vegemite, which I could throw in, but I'm not going to. I don't think that would go that well.
No. So
No.
for
No.
planning, pardon? When you're planning a trip, like what kind of meal preps are you doing, and like are for your lunches and snacks, what do you guys like to do? I know there's different kind of trips, but if you're headed out camping, what do you guys like to bring for snacks as fillers when you're on the river or lake? Aaron, we'll start with you.
Man, I'm famous for pizza subs. I love building pizza subs and actually either cooking it on the Mr. Buddy heater, like usually when we're out ice fishing or whatever. But I like a warmed up pizza sub, man. And I make it a little pepperoni, a little bit of mozzarella cheese, and some garlic bread or whatever. And I'll take those and just chop them up, and everybody gets like a piece, right? I'll make the oversized ones, like a foot long or whatever. I'll make 2 or 3. And we'll usually eat those throughout the day, and a bunch of granola bars for breakfast, or depending on how you're doing it, right?
And that'll be your lunch for the day.
Yeah, you betcha. And then hopefully you catch some fish and we eat some fish. Or if we don't, we usually have fish from other trips that we'll bring, or like Mike said, moose and elk and stuff like that from our hunts, right? And that's all part of it. Like that's what I love doing, is like sharing the hunt, whatever food we get from the harvest with our friends and family, especially out on camping trips. It makes it quite spectacular.
Yeah. Mike, what's your favorite lunchtime meal in the woods?
Well, I think it really depends, where we are. If we're at a lake and we're fishing, my most favorite thing in the world, in the wilderness, is having some potatoes, fried potatoes, and fresh walleye or trout or whatever on a cast iron pan on a fire. I mean, you cannot beat that with a stick. So that's certainly my favorite if we can, if we're in that situation. But like I said, some of the things that I made today, I can, a lot of times we bring out bananas too. We'll dehydrate bananas, but any kind of jerky or fruit. It's easy to pack. You put it in Ziplocs. It keeps a lot of the smell out. So if you're in bear country, the bears won't be tracking you too quick. But anyway, just something to think about. I mean, you can make, you can make your own potato chips out of a dehydrator as well too. So, but certainly on the shoreline eating fish, pretty hard to beat. So,
Broden?
I generally like to carry a bit of fruit and stuff, and then I like carrying peanuts, like something. But I find nuts to be the easiest thing to snack on as you're going, especially when you're walking a creek or something. You just have your pocket, chewing away at them. Sometimes when Subway's running that 2-for-1 sub deal, I'd like to run a couple. Like to buy a couple of subs and be lazy.
Yeah, I like those too.
That's Friday night special on the way out.
Well, it's just funny because I'll get one with sauce and I'll get one without sauce. So you eat the one without sauce the day after because then the bread's not soggy.
Yeah.
I keep on feeling real lazy. But nuts, fruit. I will always carry with me with some form of dehydrated meal if I want to, just like those dehydrated packs. I've got 2 or 3 in the car that just stay in the car for any unknown reason. It just they don't expire, so they're always safe bet.
Yeah. When you get to camp, wherever that shall be, what's the first thing you guys do? Like, what's the first couple things you're gonna do to get that camp set up for the evening? Aaron?
Well, first I'm gonna crack a beer. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. Get the cooler out, get everybody a drink. And depending on what you're doing with camping, I like to set this trailer up. Like I use this year round. So it's not much for setup. It's literally just park it, disconnect it, and set it up. Either put the door down or whatever. But tenting, I mean, you're going to want to set up your tent first. All your materials for cooking. And just the way you go, really. Not much to it. Friday night, first setup time. I like to set up real quick and get into the beers. I'm not scared. I'm not scared to say it either.
Mike?
Yeah, I guess, like Aaron mentioned, I think it depends what you have or what you're camping in, whether it's the locator trailer that Aaron's cooking in right now, whether it's the big behemoth, trailer, whatever you have. I think you just have to, pick a good site, kind of survey the site if it's a new one. If you're tenting, especially, that's especially important, just to see what kind of ground you're going to be on. How close are you to a stream? How close are you to maybe a swamp that you maybe not want to be there, because of mosquitoes, things like that. Just kind of, I think it's always easy to, get too excited and, maybe get into party mode, like Aaron said sometimes, but I think it's best if you get set up, get settled, and then crack into it, get a fire going, depending on what time of the year you're camping, that might be priority one sometimes, right? Because
Yeah.
you might get out of the warm truck, but then all of a sudden it's reality time kicks in if you're if you're camping on May Long and the eastern slopes of the Rockies, man. You better get some firewood if you haven't brought it already, and get those kind of things sorted out. You guys can probably talk about it, but I mean, getting a tarp set up, things like that. It all depends, what you're doing. If you got a trailer, it's easy. You unhook, you get settled, and you're pretty cozy. But if you're going to take it a little more rustic, then you got to think about a lot more things when you're out there.
Yeah, especially mosquitoes. Good point.
Yeah, I heard Broden's good with the tarp. What happened in your tarping experience, Broden?
I decided to set up a pretty big tarp when I was by myself with a tent, a couple of trees, pretty high winds. So probably shouldn't have set up the tarp, but it was raining. And then lo and behold, the wind decided to rip the tarp and dump a heap of water next to the people that were beside me and soak their tent and campground. But they laughed it off, I think.
Perfect etiquette.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like first and foremost, when I roll into camp, we usually have the wall tent. So you get it set up, then it's firewood right away. Firewood's key. Then once you get all that, it's all pretty easy. Set up your cots or your inflatable beds. And as long as you have everything set up for you to make it through the night, good enough.
Yeah, I
Sure.
think another thing too, Mitch,
Too
is,
many times when you're there.
Go ahead, Mike.
sorry guys. Yeah, I think another thing is too that, we've all been in situations tenting, like Broden mentioned, where, the tent gets wet or the tent gets really muddy. Make sure when you get back not to forget about that. Take it out on a nice warm day, set it back up. I know it's a bit of a pain, but certainly do that, because then if there's any mud or whatever in there, you can sweep it out. I've had an instance where I borrowed a tent one time years ago, and it was full of mud, and I didn't realize that until we set it up, and that was up in the Northwest Territories on the side of the Hay River, and I wasn't very impressed with that. So make sure that you take your tent out. Even tent trailers, kind of the pop-up deals they can get. If they have a wet weekend, you want to make sure that you set them back up, get them dried up, because otherwise you're gonna, it's gonna get mold, everything else potentially down the road, right? So another thing maybe think about.
Yeah, definitely. If you have a garage or a basement, as soon as you get home, spread it out and give it a flip halfway after a day or something. I know that usually
Just
happens
like your ice
to
tent.
us. I don't take care of my ice tent. But my wall tent, I do. We'll put it out in the basement, let it dry. I know when we came back from Moose Camp last year, it sleeted and it snowed all night when I was cleaning my bowl when we were butchering it. And then the next morning we packed it up and I had to leave it out for a while because it was just soaked. Everybody was soaked that night, I guess. But those are memories, and that's what it's all about right there.
You betcha.
Yeah.
So Aaron, how's your potatoes doing?
Well, it's spice time, buddy. Like, it's spice time right now.
What are you throwing on them?
A couple of local products. Got that Catch and Cook from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's that garlic whiteout. It's crazy awesome. Threw in a little bit of Perch Slayer's spice. You can look at that on Facebook. You can find him. I'm sure everybody knows who he is. And I got a new one, the new blend, the Bushketeer. He's out in Cold Lake as well. You can find him on Facebook under the Bushketeer. And we got some hell sauce. So just a couple of things that I accumulated out at the markets and stuff like that. My wife does a lot of marketing. And yeah, I pick up spices every time I can.
What flavors of those spices are you using?
So I got the steak spice with the Bushketeer and the garlic whiteout, garlic seasoning with the catch and cook. And the hell sauce is just hot pepper sauce. What it says, hot pepper sauce. Oh, yeah. Hot pepper spice. Yeah.
How many beers is that right now?
So that's 2 or 3. 2 or 3.
Oh, man. And we still have like 40 minutes.
Okay, I'll shut her down here. I'll get a water going.
Mike, what kind of brines do you like to use on your trout when you're smoking them?
Yeah, probably keep it pretty simple when it comes to the whole fish, or even a filleted one. Just some salt and pepper and some water. Really soak them for a few hours. A lot of times, and then once you get smoking them, the ones that are open face, so to speak, the fillets are up, skin down. Similar to a salmon, once they start sweating a bit, then a lot of times what I like to do is put kind of a syrup hot sauce kind of mix on there, or a brown sugar even, and just kind of paste it on there, and give it that sweet and smoky kind of taste, and it usually turns out really good. A lot of times with the other ones, I'll just peel the meat back. Once the fish is cooked properly, you usually should be able to just grab the spinal cord and rip that all out, and basically just left with meat, right? So it's pretty fantastic. And then throw a little lemon juice or lemon pepper, things like that on there. If you got some rice or whatever on the side, or some spuds, away you go. So so that's I usually don't get too fancy with the little kind of a candy trout kind of thing, same kind of thing. Today all I did was just salt and pepper and brown sugar, and I think it was about 4 or 5 hours I left them in there. Looks like they're getting close, but they'll be, they'll have a nice little smoke, and they'll have a little sweet to them too. So pretty nice stuff. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's the thing I want to do next on my smoked trout, my candied ones. Put a little heat in, maybe some sriracha or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to give it that bite on that jerky chunk.
Yeah, and really all I do with those is just fillet them right out, take the bones out, and then just slice them into strips and marinate them that way in a bowl in the fridge and keep them cool, and away you go. So yeah, pretty simple.
Roden, what do you got going on right now?
Just throwing in the pasta right now, so we can get it going. Pasta's just in there slowly simmering away. I'm a real big fan of doing the whole one pot style thing. A lot less clean, especially while camping. Like these sort of pasta-based dishes, or even just like what Erin's probably doing. Like I like to do a lot of steak and roast vegetables, so I'll put vegetables in, roast them all up, and I've got a double Dutch oven, so both fry pans. Once I'm done with the vegetables, throw it in one fry pan, throw the steak in the other, and then once it's almost done, I throw all the vegetables back in amongst it and keep everything simple, easy to clean.
With your cast iron pans, what kind of tips do you have for people to keep those clean and maintain them?
See, the biggest thing I'm finding with a lot of people, they like to buy the pre-seasoned pans and think that they're actually seasoned enough, and they're definitely not. With my cast iron, I at least season them 3 or 4 times before I actually even use them. So that's basically using some sort of high smoke oil like grapeseed oil, or even coconut oil. I think throw that in there, put them in the oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and bake them in there for an hour. And it's just like you just rub the oil around. Don't put too much oil, because then you'll smoke out your house. I can say that from experience.
Mm-hmm.
But you do it. You do that, bake it for an hour, and then let it work overnight, and then you do it the next night. So you could just do it at the end of the night for about a week, and you'll get like a nice non-stick pat like surface on it, and I don't have anything stick to mine.
No.
But they've also been heavily seasoned with bacon grease from breakfast.
How often do you re-season it?
I do it once a season. I'm generally cooking with a lot. Like I'm generally cooking a lot of bacon,
So you're
and I
seasoning it
find
with
that
bacon.
it's always seasoning with bacon.
Yeah.
No one hates bacon.
Yeah.
And I will yeah, once a year I'll get them a heavy scrub down, get it that what do you call it? I can't remember the brand name, but it's a cast iron cleaner that gets right in there and starts to eat away at that whole coating that you built up.
In the little tube
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
from Cabela.
I think
Cabela's has it, I know, lots of places.
Yeah. So I'll get in that and I'll heavily scrub them out and clean them and make sure they're all back to cast or at least close to the cast. And then I'll redo that whole process again.
Do you have one of those little mesh washboard things, the little stainless steel or whatever?
I used to, but I don't know where that is. I'll need to go buy another one. But I'm a big. I like to lose things. Well, I don't like to lose things. I just happen to lose a lot of things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I need to get one of those, our cast iron pans. I just kind of add the same as you, more bacon, and call it good. But
Yeah.
But
I know. You go.
Go ahead. No, you go.
Oh, I know. Camp make a like a little kit you can buy, and it's at Cabela's as well, and it's basically a clean kit, and you comes with a low citric acid cleaner, and you can use that with a scrubbing brush, and it seems to work really well. I just generally, if I have any stubborn things, I'll put a little bit of dishwashing liquid in, but like the smallest amount.
Yeah.
Because like if you put too much soap in there, then you do actually eat away at your coating, and then you're back to square one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a grinder and buffing wheel, you'll have to recoat it.
Yeah. Just bring the old Milwaukee cordless grinder with a wire brush on it, and you'll be fine for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, just keep doing that and bacon all the time.
Bacon.
What's one of your guys's or a couple things favorite thing? Like, I know I have a camping tote set up for all my camping kitchenette stuff when I'm going out west and stuff. What are, say, a few things that you guys is a must to have in your camping cooking tote?
A Leatherman. A Leatherman.
Yep. Second. Leatherman.
Really?
You can use it for everything.
Yeah, man. That's all you need.
Does it have a spatula?
No, it doesn't.
That's what that square bladed knife part, like the saw part, you can use that as a spatula. It's a semi-flat surface, I suppose.
What else do you need, Aaron? Like, what are a couple of the things that you want in that camping tote? And if you leave home without, you're like, oh man, why did I do that?
Well, first I'd say my phone. No, I'm just kidding. I would definitely want. Well, what would I? Yeah, this is how I roll. So I would say Dad's cast iron frying pan too. Like Dad's cast iron frying pan, I take that every time I go. That comes with me 100%. I know we already discussed that, but I would say Dad's cast iron frying pan, a Leatherman, some tarps, good rope, good amount of rope, paracord. I love to bring a lot of paracord. A grill of some sort for over the fire. If I could, I don't pack a tote, I just pack a truck, right? Like in the tote is different. There's a lot of other things in the tote, but I don't know. Other than that, really, you got what you need.
Yeah, those are the essentials.
Yeah, you bet.
Mike, what do you like to have so you can be, you know, you're going to be okay and comfortable for that weekend with just those couple things?
Yeah, a lot of things the boys mentioned would certainly be on my list. I mean, I think about tongs, I think about Ziploc bags, I think about I drew a blank. That's no fun.
Recovery gear.
Yeah, recovery gear. Yeah. Tinfoil. That was the other thing I was thinking about. Tinfoil can be a real simple, easy thing to do. You know, when you're cooking on fire, you know, wrapping things, whether it's for fish or both or whatever it is. I mean, that's really handy to have around. Obviously, garbage bags to clean up any and all mess in the bush. You know, unfortunately, we see a ton of that when we go out camping or out in the river or whatever. It's actually pretty disgusting, but you know, some extra garbage bags so you can, you know, obviously clean up and leave nature the way you saw it when you pulled up, and you know, make sure that you know, pitch in and unfortunately clean up some other messes that we do see. So that'd be a few things, but yeah, I mean, what the boys mentioned and a couple other things that I did are some pretty good essentials, I think. And you know, it really depends on what you're doing. Are you hunting? Are you fishing? Whatever it is. But you know, obviously rain gear is a big thing. I mean, we could probably talk about half an hour for all the, you know, the safety things that we should have. You know, you think about bear spray. That's an essential just about everywhere we go, especially as you start going west and north in the province. Yeah, I mean, some kind of utensils, like the boys said, a Leatherman you can get by, but you know, if you have some family with you or some kids with you, you need some, you know, some utensils, maybe plastic utensils, maybe ones that you want to wash up. I guess a little wash pan is another thing that you want to have, and it really depends. Obviously, if you have a trailer, hey, you got all that stuff packed lightly, but if you're out in the tent, there's some things like that that can be really essential. Maybe a pot to boil some water, obviously, things like that. So make some KD, you know. So.
Yeah, Rebecca was saying that no one's mentioned toilet paper yet.
It's always in the truck.
For sure.
Yeah, that is true.
Almost.
Broden, are you a McDonald's napkin guy?
Nope.
Well, there is a.
Broden, you muted yourself, or we can't hear you.
No, sorry, that was probably because there was a plane going over, so I muted myself. But no, yes, once I've used those napkins, but I've got toilet paper in the car, I've got toilet paper in the kayak, I've got toilet paper in the camp tote. I've got it everywhere now.
Yeah, I've used napkins before too. There's no shame in napkin poops.
That's right. Shop towel works, all those kind of things. You want to get cleaned up, you know, there's a thing called dude wipes, you know, all those kind of things. So.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, when the girls come, they have their, you know, they're usually very well prepared in that department. So that's never usually an issue.
Yeah. No, they always got everything. What's your guys' favorite tinfoil wrap? If you're doing a tinfoil wrap out in the bush, what do you like to put into that tinfoil as like a meal prep?
Potatoes.
Aaron's a potato guy. Just potatoes?
Yeah, man. Potatoes and mushrooms and all that other stuff. You just throw it right on. It's awesome.
What's all the other stuff?
Well, like peppers, mushrooms. I add a little bit of. Sometimes I'll get creative a little bit and add salad dressings, like sun-dried tomato, and a little bit of barbecue sauce, some soy sauce, and I'll just mix it, make it in a dual pack, and then throw it right on the fire and just flip it and keep flipping. Also, another good thing to bring on your trips is a good pair of gloves, like even something like that. Yeah, good, handy to have around, right, for grabbing that stuff out of the fire.
Yeah, go to Princess Auto and get yourself a cheap set of welding gloves.
Yeah,
You can grab a log and adjust everything. If you're moving coals to your cooking area, they work perfect.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, any good heavy leather glove, yeah, for sure.
And if you ever do need to do a field weld job, you've got the welding gloves.
That's right.
Yeah, all you got to do is connect about 3 batteries together with booster cables in line together, and you can use a coat hanger or some 6010. It works.
Yeah,
Nice.
I've been able to do it with just 2 batteries before, but yeah, like 30. When you've got 3 batteries, you've just got that much more power to do it.
Yeah, I've done 3 batteries with 6010 to put a shock mount back on a truck once.
Nice.
But that's another story.
Yeah, I guess Bro
Push
D
me,
in
Ken.
the chat there mentioned corn on the cob and tinfoil. That's a beauty.
Yeah.
One of the things I like similar to Aaron is potatoes and onions with asparagus.
Yeah.
That's one we really like. So
Yeah, with the corn and the cob, I like to just steam it enough so it's just on that edge before it's done. Then put it on the barbecue, then butter it, then put a Parmesan and like a seasoning salt on it. Delicious.
awesome.
Beauty.
Oh,
Broden, what's your
I get a
tinfoil
little
wrap?
bit fancier. I get a little bit fancier. With my potatoes, I like to cut slits in them and make up garlic butter and
Yeah.
put lumps of that into. And then when you throw them in the fire, and then once you're done, you just get some sour cream out if you want. Or same thing with an onion. I'll wrap that and put a little bit of butter in. I like to make everything, because then don't have to bring a cutting board. I've still got a knife with me anyway if I want to do any extra stuff, but there's no meal prep needed. Everything's already wrapped in the foil. Another one that's good is bananas and chocolate chips. Dessert. That's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my mom used to do that too. She always liked the banana tinfoil or bannock on the side of the fire. She'd make.
Yummy.
But with I forgot where I was going with that. I had something good too. Oh, now I'm hungry too.
You can have some of this if you want.
Okay, well, I'm coming by to judge everybody's food in a bit, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
But yeah, no. Oh yeah. Tinfoil, a good thing with the tinfoil mix too. If you pre-cook your potatoes and carrots a bit just before you head out, then do your tinfoil wrap with a sausage and put sausage in there too. Then butter it. That's just like a little box meal prep for you to go with, which is always tasty. Yeah. When you guys are camped at these areas, since it's kind of backcountry, say it's on a little stream, what kind of areas, say it's a trout stream, what kind of areas are you guys looking to target this time of year on that stream for runs or pools or hooks to use? Aaron?
We'll let Mike take this one. I haven't been out at all, and I don't even know what's going on right now. I don't even have anything to judge. I don't go trout fishing very often. When I do, it's Cold Lake, it's Lakers, and it's on a boat, right? So I'm not even hitting streams at all. Just little creeks, pike.
Lake trout aren't trout. They're not even a trout.
Well, yeah, it's a char. Aaron, we should probably meet up in July, and I'll take you on a trip out west. Then we can do something like that. Then film a good show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, Mitch. I'd love to. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Matt.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, a lot of times I think it's, you know, I grew up in Manitoba fishing the Assiniboine River, and, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
times, you know, where another creek or river comes in can be fantastic. We would always fish the, you know, the outside bends of the streams where generally speaking, the channel is deepest. And lots of times you get some undercut banks there. I know in the Bow and a lot of those other rivers, a lot of those big browns and fish like that hide under those, you know, really under those banks. And, you know, you got to kind of throw close there. I guess it really depends as far as equipment goes, you know, what kind of vegetation's around the river too. You know, I think when we go, you know, way up into the alpine above the tree line, you know, you can probably use anything, right? You got lots of room to cast if you're fly fishing. Obviously, you can spin cast too, but you know, if you're just going to be shore fishing in a tight little creek, you're probably it's going to be easiest likely just to spin cast, but you can roll cast and things like that with a fly rod. And you know, as far as lures go, it really depends on the time of year. We're starting to get some hatches around, so dry flies seem to be working okay. I know, Broden, you've probably been doing a lot more fly fishing than I have lately, but you know, when I think about later on in the season, you know, when there's this time of the year down south where the grasshoppers are floating around in the water, I mean, that can be wicked for, you know, hopper flies and things like that. But I mean, generally speaking, little minnow patterns right now can be good. Little rapalas. I mean, we had a heck of a time up northwest of Edmonton a couple of weeks ago, just with some 2-inch rapalas. The browns and the tigers and the rainbows were just smashing them. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, you know, little mep spinners, things like that. You know, I think you just have to, as usual, you know, you have to have an assortment of lures, and you know, try and match the hatch, or you know, match the conditions. The weather can play a big part in it as well. The flow of rivers and streams is a big thing too, right? I always thought when the water was dirty back at home that you had to use a bright lure, but actually you shouldn't be. You should be using it something dark, and you know, all these kind of things, right? So it varies.
100%. No. But I've been doing a fair bit of river fishing lately. I got to 2 weekends ago. I got to go fishing. We floated the NSR with my buddy Jason and Tyson, and got to witness the salmon fly hatch. And I didn't like Australia sees big. We have big bugs, but I didn't realize you had big bugs too. And those were big things. And like it was quite funny watching them just fly around. There was just so many of them. And so me thinking my size 4 stonefly that I had in my tackle box was like too big for anything, and started throwing that on, and Jason threw that on and decided to catch a small goldeye with it, which I couldn't believe they were eating something that big, but that's what they seem to be. But yeah, like most of the time in my box, I've got streamers, like minnow style. I carry at least a dozen purple haze parachute Adams. Those things seem to be a workhorse when it comes to dry fly fishing. And then I always bring a spin rod. So I've always got a bunch of countdowns and some floating rapalas. And then I've actually been going back to paddle tail soft plastics now.
Yeah.
Like to run sort of you'll be surprised that you can catch I've caught, how small was that thing? Had a 12-inch brown trout eat my 5-inch ripple shad.
Holy.
Thinking, yeah. If you get in that territory, they sometimes bite it.
It's amazing sometimes. You know, we were down in April down at the Bow River, and we were throwing 6-inch rapalas with the CSP gang there one day, and man, there was like 16, 18-inch browns and rainbows about that same size, just smashing these huge rapalas. I thought were huge rapalas for a trout. Are you kidding me? I'd never tried that before, and I really didn't believe them until I tried it. It was incredible. But I guess post spawn, they're just so hungry and aggressive, and I don't know. It was something to see. You know, a 6-inch rapala hanging out of a brown trout's mouth was pretty awesome. So.
Oh yeah. This time of year, the rainbows are trying to get more protein in them, and so they're chasing big bait. So I'll be running bigger.
Yeah, they're super aggressive brown trout this time of year. Tigers, you can throw a lot of stuff at them. Most of the year, they will be super aggressive because they're pretty territorial brown trout. So once you find
yeah.
kind of the area they hang out in, they will be in that area for most of the year. But yeah, live target, those live target trout are just crazy how much movement they have. Those cranks, they got an awesome wiggle and a good sound to them. If you're targeting trout, if you're in high alpine, go small on the flies because they're behind everything like a month. So all their nymphs and bugs are pretty much going to be very small. If you get a hatch, you're going to use like a Griffiths gnat or something on the top because it's not going to be a big bug. Underneath, go with like a small, tiny nymph or caddis kind of imitation.
Yeah.
But I saw someone post a picture today that the Clearwater is pretty blown out. I don't know if that's true. I haven't been out there because June's usually we're hitting the runoff, but we've had that rain too. So I don't know if it's a mixture right now, but it was chocolate milk. So it might be some time off for a bit and head back to the ponds and lakes.
Yep.
What camping trips do you guys have planned this year? Do you guys got any sweet places you guys are headed to?
I'd like to do some Athabasca quite a bit this year. Athabasca River is awesome. It did me well last year. 5 species in one day, just hitting on a back eddy or whatever. And it was awesome, like to catch that amount of fish. And I never really did too much river fishing, but I fell in love with it. And so I want to just hit it up again. I'll do a little bit more North Saskatchewan River too as well. But a lot of the places that we've had planned to go are just like turning into landfills, man. So I'm looking to just squirrel away farther. But I'd like to bring this trailer, and if it gets rainy and all that other stuff, then this is kind of off limits and we do some backwoods camping. So I'm up for anything really, but I'd like to do a lot of river fishing this year.
Yeah. Are you going to be using the kayak?
Yeah, well, there's talk about it. A buddy of mine's got a jet boat, so he's talking about dropping us off and picking us up and letting us float the river and, just keeping in contact with one another. So I think
Is that Steve?
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah.
And he has his new outfitting company on the Athabasca this year from his camp spot?
I'm not sure. We haven't really talked about it yet, and he hasn't really talked to me about the whole thing. So where he's going with it or not, I'm in the dark. So I was supposed to to go out with him this weekend, but he got busy and plans changed. So we're going to just reschedule it for another time. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not really too sure. I can't speak for him, but it seems like he's got something cooking. That's for sure.
Yeah. Last time I talked to him, I think he was trying to work out something, but maybe it's not my place to say either. I don't remember.
Well, he's
But I think
got,
he's got something in the works to do some trips on the Athabasca for some phenomenal walleye fishing.
Yeah, he definitely does. I'm just not up to date on all the details on when he's firing up, what he's doing, how he's going about it. I have no clue, but I know he's got something cooking. That's for sure.
We can bring it up on a different show when we fact check that.
Yeah, you betcha.
But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you bet.
What do you got going on, Mike? You got any sweet trips somewhere?
Yeah, I similar to Aaron, and I'll probably be with him the odd time. We want to do some river ratting for sure. I think the rivers in Alberta are certainly an untouched resource. And those of you on the show and in the audience tonight, I think you know that. I mean, one thing that I want to catch this year, and I never have, and I've never gone for, is a sturgeon. So whether it's at the NSR or wherever it is, I'd love to go down south and see some of the boys down there, and maybe in the South Saskatchewan, wherever it may be. Maybe even out to Chilliwack. We'll see. That's in the cards potentially right now. Other than that, I do have a wonderful trip planned with my dad and my brothers and a bunch of other friends up to Great Bear Lake in August. So that's phenomenal.
That's deadly.
Yeah, we were up there once about 17 years ago, and looking forward to getting back there again. Potentially Cree Lake Thought about maybe Dory Lake. There's a lake in Saskatchewan where you can drive
Dory's,
to. One of the
yeah,
many.
Dory's sweet.
Yeah, great little lodge there and full of big walleye and pike. So thought about that as well. And, we'll kind of see what time allows. But those are some of the big things going on, as well as some other outdoor adventures that I'm finalizing in the next little while too. So it's going to be a fun summer. Let's put it that way. So.
Yeah, I looked at a place on Dory Lake that was a lodge with some bear tags, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm holding out for the one that I want, I think. Broden, what do you got planned? You're in the kayak series. How are you doing in there? Are you winning yet?
No, I've been way too
Why
busy
not?
with work. Been too busy with you have no leg to stand on,
Yeah, I don't. I should be leaving in the morning to Cree Lake.
Yeah. Could be.
No, taking a little back step here in the kayak fishing and doing a few more mountain trips and stuff. So great plane coming over. We were originally going to go to Lost Guide Lake this weekend, but unfortunately found out that it's still frozen over, which is great. But so we're doing a change plans up, and we're hitting some of the lakes out towards Edson area. So we're going to do a 4-day trip out there because I've already got the time booked off. And also, I sent an email to the Cold Lake people, and they gave me confirmation I can kayak fish it. So I'm very tempted in competing against the big boats with the kayak.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on. We're heading up.
I'll join you.
Like,
I'll join you. That'd be fun.
Yeah, no,
because we have a kayak.
Me and a buddy are registered, so we got our camp spot in the provincial park. So get a spot in the provincial park. I'll tell you where my spot is later, so you can come close.
Yeah, you'll be able to get over there in 5 minutes. It'll take me about half the day just to get to where you are.
You could just throw the boat or your kayak on my boat, and we'll just drop you beside us.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
that'll be the go. Yeah. So I just confirmed with that with work and everything. So I probably will sign up for that either tomorrow or the day after. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. And the kayak series in August is on Cold Lake again too, isn't it?
True, that's the one I'm actually hosting. So that'll be good. We've got the prizes are inside, but first prize is a 23 amp hour Dakota lithium battery. And the second prize is another Dakota battery. And we've also got a Buzz Bomb giveaway because Buzz Bomb has been very awesome and actually donated a bunch of lures. And I love Buzz Bombs.
Yeah, great company.
For sure.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
Tom,
no, I have an invite to use a kayak for that tournament, so I may be coming.
What kind of kayak?
I don't know, but it's all set up. I just gotta sit in it.
Okay.
If it's one from Mike, you're probably going to be on a wilderness, and I won't talk to you if you're in a wilderness.
No, I think it has a motor on it.
Oh, is that your legend boat that identifies as a kayak?
Well, can't you do that now? You just identify everything as whatever you want.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just streamline it and just say, no, I got an invite from a guy. He's got it all set up. So if I have time, I know my August is crazy right now. We'll be in Northern Saskatchewan. Then I might be guiding in Northern Saskatchewan. And I know I'm guiding in Alberta too. So we'll see. I'd love to make it up and try out the kayak.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of another kayak thing, we do have another tournament this weekend, but the weekend after, if anyone does want some cast iron, I know the River Runs Through tournament at Dryden Meet. First First place is a Cabela's cast iron set valued at $250. So if anyone wants to get into camping and also kayak fish, that's probably the tournament to go to.
Yeah.
I got too much.
And yeah, I was looking at today. You guys pretty much have events every month throughout the summer in different locations.
Yeah. We've got quite a few going on this year.
Yeah, so pretty much if you're from anywhere in Alberta, you can probably make one of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's the web or the Facebook page called, Broden, that they can look up this stuff?
That's the Western Canada Kayak Fishing Trail. And you can also jump, that's on the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's WestCan Kayak.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a bunch of Facebook groups. There's Western Canada Residents Kayak Fishing, as well as Alberta Kayak Anglers. You can look up them. Plus, we've got a group in Edmonton, Greater Edmonton. But yeah, we've got a bunch of groups going on, and it's going to be bigger and better than last year. Thanks to, after that 2 years ago from COVID when there was no events, where it's good to see the event coming back.
Yeah, it's exploding.
Yeah,
for sure. And I know there was a Tri-Lake competition too that benefited the Wabamun skate park and stuff. I don't know if it's still going through. I know she wanted so many entries by today. I know I'm going to enter. I haven't entered yet just because I'm a procrastinator.
Yeah.
But I didn't see anything that is canceled, and that's Gull Lake, Buck Lake, and Isle Lake, I believe.
Isle Lake,
I thought,
Yeah.
And that's biggest walleye and biggest 3-stringer, I think.
Yeah.
So if you get in on that event, it doesn't cost much. It supports a great cause.
Yeah.
It goes to a skate park. Like, I remember growing up going to the skate park with my BMX and my skateboard on my back and just spending the afternoon there, just staying out of trouble and staying active, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. Like, you do that one day, then you go fishing the next.
Yeah.
Get
Also,
your exercise, then go fishing. Get your exercise, go fishing.
Yeah.
So if you can support that, even if you're not going to fish, it's just a donation to that pretty much. So if you can help,
100%.
get in on it. It's a great cause.
Yeah. I'll sign up for that for sure.
How's your guys' meals go? Actually, Josh was asking, do you guys prefer rivers or smaller tributaries? Aaron.
I like rivers.
Yeah. You're a big body water guy?
Yeah. You cover lots of ground and have lots of fun and find new spots and camping places and all sorts of stuff.
Mike?
Yeah, I think it really depends where you are and what time of year it is, especially water levels, things like that really contribute to where you're going to be able to fish smaller tributaries. But I mean, I've been in situations in the spring, first weekends of fishing where, we've been in smaller creeks and chasing trout, and especially back home, pike, even walleye, and they're just stacked in there. So, I mean, there can be some tremendous opportunities in small tributaries, but generally speaking, throughout the year, where that tributary comes into the river is usually one of the best spots on the river too. So you can kind of play it by ear and how the water levels behaving as to where you can fish it. But I've got no problem booting up a little creek and checking it out, because you never know what you're going to find up there. We find that sometimes too at Slave Lake when we're fishing, and the water is miserable, and you boot up the Slave River there, and man, there's some great fish up there. So that would be one example of a situation where you can get out of the weather and go catch some great fish. So
For sure, Broden.
Well, I'm actually more partial to the small tributaries. I don't know, like, I used to do it like months long. I'd be doing lake fishing, but last year I started doing a bit more tributary fishing, up like upper tributaries of the Clearwater and up on the Red Deer. I went right up there before, and I don't know, it sort of just when I'm trout fishing it and you're fishing those sort of tributaries, it's sort of that's the sort of stuff that you dream of fishing small. When you're fishing for trout, you look at the mountain range and everything around you. That's sort of that's sort of my happy place right now. So really enjoy those.
Yeah, 100%. I love small streams. I like catching fish that are big in those small streams. Like if you're fishing a tiny stream and you catch like a 14-incher and it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
I live for that. It's amazing going out west and just going to all those different areas, maybe hiking into a creek and just hitting those little holes and stuff and catching 12 to 14-inch fish in a stream that you think 6-inch fish.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me. It's just like being in the nature in the moment, and it's what I was raised around, just fishing backcountry, taking the old Jeep with my dad down the cut lines, and then you come to a creek and you just cast that little Panther Martin in there and see what you get, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then once
That's
in a
how
blue moon, you hook into a bull trout, which just
Yeah.
ups the level.
Yeah, you can catch like this one time, me and my dad were on this creek and brookies and browns in it, but we came to this hole. It was a hole before the floods came. What was it, 6-7 years ago in that area? We came to this hole. Dad throws a little woolly bugger in there, and it's probably like, I don't know, 4 feet across by 8 feet wide. And he pulls out an 18-inch bull that was just chunky. And it's just like, where did that come from? But then the next beaver dam, we're looking at brookies that are football size. It's just like, they're just going around.
It's funny. Yeah.
I find
It's funny when people think small streams, and when you're looking at a small stream, people think small fish, but you'll be surprised at how big a fish is living in some of those holes.
Yeah, I find that small tributary fishing is akin to hunting. You know, it feels like you're kind of hunting because you really do. I mean, you can't just tromp around on the bank and walk up to a pool. I mean, sometimes those fish are pretty skittish, and you know, it's like fly fishing too. I mean, you gotta take it easy. You gotta watch even where the sun is. You know, you don't want to cast a bunch of shadows into a pool because those fish know it's a bear or something, right? So, absolutely, yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah.
For sure, Mike. Those, like, you're coming up the edge, so you just start getting on your knees and slowly crawling on this little creek just to make that cast. Like, I know on Shunda one year, just in one little stretch, I did, which isn't supposed to be there, cutthroat and a brookie and a brown, just in one, like, it's probably only 50 yards.
Awesome.
And that cutthroat must have come up from the North Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing when it came in. It's just like, it's not a big fish. It's like an 8-inch cutthroat, but it's just like, oh my God. That's that's finding gold right there.
You betcha.
It's like a 10-pound walleye, right? Yeah.
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 Yeah. And like Aaron says, I mean, generally speaking, in rivers, there can be a heck of a variety of fish in there too. Like Aaron said last year, I think it was, Aaron, where you caught 5 or 6 species of fish in one day. You don't usually get that in many lakes at all, if ever, really, you know. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
The bigger rivers give you so much option too, with the sturgeon, mooneye, goldeye, sauger, walleye, all the different suckers.
Yeah.
And right now is prime time for those.
Yes.
Like the runoff was holding off, but I think if the Clearwater's showing anything, if from that picture, everything's going to kind of hit now. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yes.
How's your dinner doing, Aaron?
It's fantastic, man. I gotta say thanks, even if my buddy, I don't know if he's even watching, but this is Dale Charters, and he gave me some of his whitefish to take home, and it's amazing. Like when I opened that pack, I was like, oh, that's good stuff. Smells delicious, tastes great. So thanks, Dale.
Mike, you're still smoking away?
Yeah, just took a peek there. The candied stuff's looking really good right now. Just took a bite. I think it's good. It's pretty close. Probably time to give the others a little baste, and that'll probably be it. But I'll have to check them a little better. You know, it's gets to a point where you either cook them or you smoke them, right? And depending on how much time you have and everything else, it's what you do, right? But yeah, no, it looks good.
Broden, is your supper ready yet?
It's been ready for quite a while. I just sort of turned off the heat, and the great thing about cast iron, it sort of holds the heat.
Nice.
So now I've got lunch for at least a week.
How does it taste? How does it taste? Give us a bite.
Well, haven't you been seeing me during the show? I've been eating away at it as you've been talking. But no, it's good. It's got plenty of bacon in there, and that's always the best thing about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's a Tuesday. Next week, we're on Monday. We're with Ricky from Rickles Fishing.
Nice.
We're talking with Ricky about all of his experience lately, getting back into Alberta, starting up his shows again, more active again. So it's an amazing show. A great guy. He does a lot of awesome shows. So don't miss it. And we got some great lineup next month. We're trying to figure out a timeline for Yukon Unguided. So they'll be back on.
Wicked.
We have Lisa and Amber and Tash on at the end of the month. And yeah, it's going to be jam-packed. So stay tuned. And we're just going to keep bringing you more and more info. So you guys stay on so I can see what you're eating. And everybody else, thanks for watching. We'll see you Monday. It's a change up. Monday. Have a good night, everybody, and an awesome weekend. Get out fishing. Get your family and friends out there. Enjoy the outdoors, because that's what it's all about.
You betcha.
Cheers.
See you guys.
See ya.